One more quick fire one, and people are interested in this one. When was the last time you spoke to Boris Johnson on the phone?
I don't know, actually. I spoke to him
Was he going to join you on the campaign trail?
I spoke to him in person at the end of last year, and we've messaged since then as well.
Is he going to join you on the campaign trail?
That's
Are you going to share a platform?
What
about Liz? What about Liz?
Anybody,
Are you going to three of you stand there together?
Anyone from the Conservative family who wants to see a Conservative government re-elected and doesn't think Keir Starmer is the right person to lead our country will be welcome on the campaign trail, right? Because ultimately that's the choice. It's Keir Starmer or me as Prime Minister after the next election.
And Boris, Liz and Rishi.
If you want to keep cutting taxes, if you want a more sensible approach to net zero, if you want to tackle illegal migration, I think those are all things that your readers want, then we're the people that are going to deliver that for you.
I want to show you something. It'll be on this screen here. When you took over as Prime Minister in October 22, the polls were about 19% for the Tories. You started with a bad hand, I'll give you that, but you managed to start to get things back. You started to go up in the polls and you got almost up to 30%. But now you've dropped back down to Liz Truss levels, back down to 19 last month. And at the same time, Reform UK have been gaining support. Now, that's on your watch, isn't it? What's to blame for that?
Well, as I said, look, it has been a frustrating time, and I completely appreciate that. But look, there's going to be lots of polls, and you know this better than most because you've covered multiple elections.
They're consistently looking pretty grim, right?
But what matters is the general election, and that's what I'm focused on.
Go on.
I'm sure we'll get to that.
Tell us, reveal us, a Sun World exclusive.
No. But look, on that, I've been clear, actually, because I said, look, my working assumption is we'll have an election in the second half of the year.
You've been clear when it might be. You've also ruled out dates. You've ruled out a May election. You've publicly ruled out a May election.
But it's because we've got really important local elections to focus on. And actually, I'm sure we'll talk about that, but local elections are a great opportunity to see the contrast of what Labour and power means. Look at Birmingham. The Labour Council there bankrupted the largest local authority in Europe and handed everyone there a 21% council tax increase.
Can you rule out
in contrast to
mayors
like Andy Street and Ben Houchin and Teesside, where I was out campaigning yesterday? But look, I said my working assumption is there'll be an election in the second half of the year, and I'll stick to that. But ultimately, look, we've got a long-standing tradition. It's the Prime Ministers that decide when we're going to call an election, and I haven't decided because I'm busy focusing on the things that matter to people, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, making sure that we improve the economy, get people's pay packets rising, cutting their taxes, getting illegal migration down.
Lots of our readers have written in.
You know, that's the things that I'm focused on delivering for people.
Scores, I'd go as far as to say, of our readers said they just want you to call the date now. Just tell us when it's going to be. Just tell us, almost get out of the way. With those polling numbers, can you understand why there's sort of growing rumours and speculation and briefing in Westminster that your political enemies within the Tory party might move against you after the May local election?
So, Harry, look, obviously, that's your job. You're a political journalist. You spend your time in Westminster. And if I'm being totally candid with you, that's not where I'm focused, right? I'm out and about across the country most of the time, talking to people about what's on their mind. And I've got to tell you, I was out yesterday talking to God knows how many people over the course of the day in Teesside. You know, were people talking to me about the date of the election? No. What they were talking to me about is our childcare reforms, the fact that actually this week we're rolling out more free childcare to working families, which is a good thing. They're talking about what we're doing to help them with their bills and the tax cuts that we're putting in place. They're talking to me about what we're doing, crucially, to cut illegal migration.
What we're doing
to cut the cost of net zero. Those are the things that people are talking to me about, and actually that's what I'm focused on.
Here's what people are talking about. Here's what one reader said. His name's Bertie. He said, in your local election broadcast last year, you said your party had 5 priorities and there'll be no tricks, no ambiguities. We're either delivering for you or we're not. Waiting lists are up, boats are up, growth is bumping around zero. Bertie says, do the public not have a right to conclude that you're not delivering by the standards that you set yourself and have a right to get rid of you?
Great, well, let's have that conversation. So I set out 5 priorities. Right, I'm actually delighted that Bertie has focused on those because I think they're the right ones, right? And let's recount what they were. So halve inflation,
I thought grow you were the economy. Quiz then, yeah.
Well, that's my job, not yours. Halve inflation, grow the economy, reduce debt, cut waiting lists, and stop the boats. I was very clear, and actually, as Bertie acknowledged, right, I did something that hadn't been done before. I was very clear with the public. This is what I'm focused on. This is what I believe to be not just my priorities as Prime Minister and as Rishi. I think these are the country's priorities. And I want to deliver against them and people can hold me to account. And look, the most important one was inflation, more than halved, from 11% down to 3.4%. The economy outperformed all expectations last year, and actually at the start of this year, the signs are very positive. Debt is on track to fall, as we said it would be, according to the Independent Office for Budget Responsibility has said we're meeting our fiscal rules. Waiting lists have now fallen for 4 months in a row. And admittedly, progress there has not been as strong as I would
let's
like.
talk about the boats
and
as
we'll
well.
know that we all know the reasons why, but they have fallen for 4 months in a row now. And on boats, I'm sure we're going to talk lots about
Let's do it.
We're busy getting on with our Rwanda
vast
bill because I
majority-
want to get this thing up and running.
The vast majority of questions we received were about small boats and immigration. Martin writes, the current situation with immigration, both legal and illegal, makes a mockery of undertakings the Conservatives made when they came to power. Your own former Home Secretary, your own former Borders Minister, a friend of yours, say you won't stop the boats and you don't really care about reducing legal migration. How did they reach that conclusion?
Well, first of all, look, I speak as someone who's comes from a family of immigrants,
Yeah.
right? And this is really important to me. And like your readers, and I've spent a lot of time talking to them about this as well, I think this is fundamental to our country. Why? Because our country is built on the notion of fairness. It's central to our national character. And of course, we're a welcoming and tolerant people, and my own personal story is an example of that. But that's got to be done fairly. And when people jump the queue, come here illegally, and then put pressure on public services in the way that they do, and we're not able to remove them in the way that we want to, that's not right. And I've been very clear that just said, it offends my sense of fairness, and that sense of fairness is central to our character. So what are we doing? Because like your readers, I agree. Now, more than any other Prime Minister in history, I've really gone at tackling this problem. I spent more time on it than anything else other than the economy.
But
and we're in the midst of, well, actually, hang on.
The boats are going up.
Well,
yeah, they're up a third this year already.
And they were down a third for the first ever time last year. When everybody said, and actually I remember having an interview with you at the time, everyone said to me,
the graph's going the wrong way again.
Yeah, everyone said you won't be able to do anything about this. They've only ever gone up. But actually the first year in this job, why? Because we got a deal going.
They went down
Albania.
and now they're going back up. We're back to square one, aren't we?
No, we're not, because progress is still being made. What did we do with Albania? They accounted for a third of the arrivals we had the year before last. I negotiated a new deal with Albania. Obviously, it's a safe country, and said, hang on, if someone comes here illegally, we'll be able to return them back. We've then returned thousands of people back to Albania, and what happened? They stopped coming. Now, we need to replicate that.
You said stop the boats.
And that's
Do
why.
you regret making such a black and white problem? You don't say reduce. You didn't say reduce the boats by a third. You said stop
not,
the
because
boats.
I am determined to stop the boats. And that's why the Rwanda scheme is so important. Now, the experts on this are people like the National Crime Agency, who also say you need a deterrent. What does that mean? It means that I want to be able to make it the case, very clearly, unequivocally, if you come to our country illegally, you won't be able to stay and we will be able to return you. Either to your home if it's safe, but if not, to a safe alternative, and that's where Rwanda comes in. Now, that's why I'm doing everything I can to get this bill through Parliament so that we can start sending people to Rwanda. And once we can get that done, you will see that people stop coming, because it won't be worth their while paying anyone.
Have you got a contract with a carrier to take people to Rwanda yet?
Yeah, we've got all the plans in place.
So you've got a company. I'm not asking you who, but you have a contract with a company.
I am highly confident. You wouldn't expect me to get into those details.
No, I'm not asking for name, but you do have the contract in place.
I'm highly confident that, yes, we can operationalise the policy.
Is the contract with the RAF?
I can operationalise the policy, as we've said. But look, the question you should be asking, all your readers, right? No, but because you did ask it to me, but the clear thing is, look, is this an issue that needs fixing? Yes. I agree that it is. And actually, those are my values, right? So, look, and the election, there'll be a clear choice on this issue. I've got a plan that I'm working towards. And the alternative is, I think you had Keir Starmer on here the other day, right? I have not seen an alternative to our plan. So, yes, I know people will have criticisms. I know people will want to snipe from the sidelines. But the question is, what is the alternative to our plan?